Go.
Everybody has a different ending. That's good enough, man. That's pretty wild. Xavier Aguirre.
Hello,
On
everyone.
lead vocals, lead guitar, rhythm guitar, and I'm just rhythming. So is Phil Dalmolin over here. This is San Antonio Musicians Talk Show Network, along with Phil Antoine, engineer. We're grateful for him being here today. He just
Shout
saved
out
the
to
show. He just saved the show. I don't know how we're going to play it again, but that's what he does. Okay, wonderful. So we've got two of the hardest working musicians, I think, in the city. Both Xavier Aguirre now and Phil Dalmolin. I don't even know where to start because Phil runs a band called Potter's Wheel, and he also runs a music store called Potter's Wheel. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. But I did want to ask you guys, regarding the talk show, what exactly motivated you to get into the music business? I mean, the very first thing that happened to you, what was your earliest memory or recollection of, you know what, I'm going to play music?
So I have to say that it was probably a transistor radio that I got for Christmas when I was about 9 years old. And I remember Kono radio and KTSA AM radio. And I remember the Beatles and, of course, Monkeys and all that stuff. And
Were you tapping to that stuff already? Did you know you wanted to be like a drummer out of that
it's
sound
funny
you were
because
hearing?
actually I would sneak my mom. My mom was a musician.
Okay,
And she
see.
sang and played guitar and all
Yeah,
that.
all my uncles.
She had a Gretsch Country Gentleman
Ooh,
That's a great guitar.
child.
that I would sneak
It's a
out.
great guitar.
And I'd try to, she showed me how to make a G chord and how to make a D chord. And,
I
so
thought they called them G-strings.
I say, what?
Never mind.
You are the
I
G,
thought they
you-
called
you-
them G-strings.
You are the G string backwards.
Okay. Thank you.
That's an old
My
flow
co-host.
So anyway, it just kind of started there. And then I do remember I was about 11 and I came home from school and she had a drum set. She played some drums. Okay. And she had this little Gretsch. She was a Gretsch gal.
At 11?
She had this little, about 11
wild.
years old. So she had this little Gretsch drum set that was hers set up. And she said, well, I've called your cousin Larry, and he's on his way over, and he's going to show you how to play a waltz and a shuffle and a 2/4 and a 4/4 and then you're going to back me up when we play in church on Sunday.
What a gig. So actually,
Okay.
the way you got into it was a blessing. He played
Yeah.
in church.
That's exactly right.
It was a blessing, man.
But
That's
then,
incredible.
but then I was about 12, I guess, and then, like I said before, you know, the Beatles and the Monkees and all that stuff was happening, and so it was like the rock devil took over, and I was also starting to realize what girls were.
Oh,
And so,
praise God
you
for
know,
that one.
So there you go. That's what
By
got
the
me
way, you're
started.
married, aren't you?
Say what?
You're married, by the way.
Real
aren't you?
close. I mean, not officially
Not
down
officially,
at the county
but close
courthouse,
enough?
but yeah, I'm wearing a ring, and I got a lady.
Praise God for that
If
one.
you're paying the bills, you're married.
Yeah, exactly. I am.
If you're
as a matter
paying
of fact.
attention, you're married. How about you? Are you married?
Yes, I am married to my beautiful wife, Linda Aguirre.
Praise God.
I wasn't for a long time. I could never get married because I was always on the road. And we didn't get married till like 7 years ago. We've been together forever, like 25 years.
Wow.
But I was always working.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'm the only single guy here. If anybody's
Well,
interested,
you're what we call the lucky
an
one.
outsider, man, looking in.
No, I love you, Linda, wherever you're at.
That's so cool. What was it that inspired you to get
Well,
into
I was
this
listening
thing?
to his story, and it was very close to mine. And I was listening.
first
The very first time. I was about 5 or 6, maybe a little older, maybe 9, in the back of my brother's, Camaro, and he had the radio blaring, and a long, cool woman in a black dress came out.
Yeah.
And I
A
started
long,
tapping.
cool woman in a red dress.
Yeah.
I started tapping on.
But she was wearing black.
Black. It was a black dress.
Okay.
Yeah. Long, cool woman in a black dress. Anyway, it was that song that changed my life.
Really?
It was that song that changed my life.
Man.
I just knew. I was like, I could see a future. And then, of course, when I turned 14 and I started playing backyard parties and stuff, there was girls everywhere, and that was really what But it was long, cool woman in a black dress that inspired me, not necessarily to be a guitar player, but I knew it was going to be something in music.
Yeah.
I'd have to say for
It was that
myself, it was. Dun, she loves you, yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, when I
The
heard that
Beatles,
drum
come on.
roll, when I heard that, I mean, who the heck starts a song with a little chop like that?
Yeah,
It was
exactly.
that drum lick. Ringo.
I'm like, oh, come on, man. Who is this? What is this? And then Fab Four. And ever since then, I mean, I think I patterned my drumming very similar to Ringo's
can't
style.
beat
And I don't go kind of
Ringo's
haywire
star.
and do all that other kind of stuff.
In fact, in my car right now,
Star is the
I'm
one.
listening to the White Album, which
By the way, do you know who the most popular and influential drummer of all time is? Do you know who that?
Ringo Starr.
I'd say Ringo.
Ringo Starr.
Yeah, I mean,
He's given the notoriety of being the best drummer in rock history. I like
We
that.
were talking about what song. So I got to say, my song was Dylan's "Stone You When You're
yeah,
Walking
yeah,
to
yeah.
the Door."
Yeah.
No
so
way.
The pulse on that was so strong.
Oh, and it was.
And
but,
it's like,
but dig this.
man, I need to play drums, and so yeah.
But dig this. Xavier backed up Bob Dylan.
know.
You tell me
Yeah.
that. So
we
tell
were
our
talking
listening
about
audience
that.
about
Right.
that, would you?
well, we don't like to talk about it. I know Mike doesn't like to talk about it. Yeah, but Mike and I opened up for Bob Dylan and Paul Simon. And
Let me ask you this: did you open up all the way?
no, never. I'd have to charge a lot more money. Yeah. But I
Thank
was
God.
just I was
Thank
just
God you
telling
weren't
him
used and abused.
that-
Phil, are you with me?
Yeah.
Yes,
No,
sir.
the
I'm
other
right
Phil.
here. How are you?
What'd you say, Phil?
I'm right here. How are you?
I was
That's our
telling him
engineer.
that Bob Dylan and Paul Simon did "Sound of Silence" from, Paul Simon.
The Sounds of Silence,
Sound
yeah.
of Silence. But Dylan sang the Art Garfunkel part, and it was the best thing I've ever heard.
Wow.
Ever.
You know, I just saw
you
some
now
recent-
you can Google it. Everybody out there, Google it.
Yeah,
gonna.
I saw some recent Dylan, and I was never really a huge fan, but I did like his words. I really didn't like his style. I liked his lyrics. And then now that I see it, I'm like, my God, this guy was a genius.
Yeah.
He really put together some stuff that we didn't even know what we were doing.
Oh man, I bet you that guy has written stuff. I read something where, the song "Rock Me, Mama, Like a Hurricane."
Yeah.
Well, so he wrote that and forgot it, just the chorus. And
That's
then
funny.
later, I don't know who was it that first did it, Canadian Ragweed or whatever here
Yeah.
lately. No, it was a different band. But anyway, it became a big hit. And they were worried about, paying him. And he's like, I forgot about that thing. I don't care what y'all do with it. So it was like he wrote it, 50 years ago and forgot about it.
Wow.
Wow.
Well,
That's what I read.
Was it $1 million seller? I don't know. I'm really not familiar with that tune. What was it again? Which one?
It was later done by, who's the Hootie and the Blowfish guy?
Yeah. Hootie and the
Oh, yeah?
Blowfish. I've got a story about them. We'll tell later.
I can't remember
No, tell it now.
the singer's name.
Well, I can't remember, but they were at the Dylan show. Mike and I opened up for. They were at that show, and their manager. I was in the bar, of course, trying to get a bottle of Jack Daniels, and they wouldn't sell me a whole bottle. And they're
They
like,
wouldn't or they would?
No, they wouldn't.
Well,
And, nobody
I think
asked
that's
to buy a
illegal.
whole bottle. You can buy a shot.
Yeah, I think that's illegal, my
You
friend.
can't, yeah, you can't buy a bottle. I didn't, I was doing illicit things.
So one drink wouldn't have done
Some
it anyway.
people came up and said, "Hey, well, the Hootie people want to meet you guys," and I was kind of full of myself at the time. I was very young, full of myself, and I was like, "Well, if I want to hang out with golfers, I'll go to a golf course."
That's right. They were big golfers.
They were
Darius
big golf-
Rucker.
Darius Rucker.
Yeah.
And I feel
Darius Rucker.
horrible now because me now would kill for that opportunity, but me at 28 or 30,
Oh, dude, I can tell you story after story where I
Please
put my
do.
big foot in my mouth
Please do.
professionally. We're just, oh, God, somebody please pull my ear. Anyway, but we won't talk about that no more.
Privilege of youth, I guess. Me right now at this moment in my life would just die for an opportunity like that. Yeah. But at 28 or 30, it just, didn't happen.
Well,
So-
Phil, what was the first band that you got involved in, and where has it taken you from there?
Oh, my
I mean, what I'm asking is, did you start with a certain genre, and did you move on to other genres? Because we have people that just play rock, people that just play blues.
Yeah, no, I've
And
done
some
it
jazz
all
players.
as far as the genres of music. But,
Yeah. I mean,
when
back
you say
in the day, we didn't even talk about it.
when
you
you
either
say
played
first
this or that.
band, first band I was probably 13.
Weren't you? Didn't I meet you initially, or see you at minimum at Teen Canteen? Were you a part of that?
Always as a participant. I've never
Really?
played Teen Canteen.
You had never played it?
I was
But
never
I know
in a
you
cool
were there
enough
because
band.
everybody still used to talk about you. Nika and all the girls, they all loved you. And
Oh,
everybody
sure.
liked you,
And I mean, I used to go and just oogle Gene Coleman and just, I mean, he
Gene,
hung
he's a
the
good friend.
moon.
Yeah.
And I would just go watch Gene and some others. I remember Steve.
Well, I was there. Remember Crystal Winter? Crystal
band,
Winter,
yeah.
That was my band.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I was the drummer for that band.
Okay,
for-
well, there you go.
We
See,
did
I
a
wasn't
10-year
cool enough
stint.
to be in that crowd, but I sure wanted to be.
Yeah, we started at a very young age. I mean, when I was turned on to beating anything on the radio, I was 4 years of age.
Yeah.
But that was because we used to throw down family pachangas, is what they're called. So in a circle, all of my uncles, all of my aunts would play guitar. And all of us little kids would run around and drink their leftover beer. just go nuts and said, "This is the life." I must play music and drink beer. Yeah. The latter. Okay, cool. Well, you just got to be cool about it.
So
substances.
what do you remember your first band?
It was a bunch of boys, junior high boys, and we tried out and made the talent show and came in second place. The name of the band was the Chronicles.
Okay.
And we were doing I think we did a Monkees song. We did a Ventures
The
song,
Chronicles.
Walk Don't Run or something like that. But I remember, man, I thought we blew it out of the water, and we got second place, and we won second place. The girl that won was doing a song, pantomiming, not even really singing, but pantomiming a song.
Kinda what they do now.
my gosh.
My Boy or something, Lollipop, and
Oh
she
my
had all
gosh.
these suckers taped to her little dress.
And she beat
she
you
was
up?
ripping them off and throwing them to kids. So the crowd
That's
was
that's
going
what you call
crazy.
marketing.
That was a gimme.
That was marketing.
Marketing.
That's
you
what you
got
call
it.
marketing.
We used to give beer.
Early
vote for us.
marketing.
So that was my first band, I think, and we actually, as 16-year-olds or something like that, we got a Elks Lodge gig. I think we each made $10, and so. But it was a
very
little
happy.
after that. I was probably 17 or so, and I was in a little band. I can't even remember the name of it, but we were like starting to play gigs. And actually, the guitar player was an older guy, and he told him that he was my uncle because I was underage and wasn't supposed to get in
Yeah.
clubs. And it's, well, he's here to play, and it's my nephew, which was a lie. But I started making money, and then I realized, holy moly, I was hooked, man.
I was playing
Yeah.
strip jars at 17. Strip bars. Did I just say that?
Yeah.
Strip bars at 17 years of age. And, it was just because we could. I mean, nobody asked, nobody told.
That's the great thing about
They needed
music,
us,
though. Music can get you indoors that you normally wouldn't be able to get into.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that we all have in common in this business, and that's why it's a brotherhood, because we've all had those opportunities, and it's just certain things that wouldn't happen to you in a normal. I think about my life sometimes, and I think, oh my God, what a spoiled human being I've been. Because
lucky. I
lucky.
prefer to call it lucky.
Well,
I was going to say, what do y'all think about even being a musician? I mean, I feel it a duty.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's inside my soul. I don't know how to get rid of it.
I feel I don't have a choice in that.
Thanks. That
I just don't
kinda
have a
lends
choice.
credence.
You're exactly right. I can't tell you.
I don't have a
parents
choice
and
in the matter.
I mean,
grandparents.
that's what I believe. The spirit of whatever you want to look at, God or whomever as a thing or whatever. That's who He made us like this.
Absolutely. I was going to say,
Even
my
as
grandparents-
broke as we are, He made us like this, and we have probably
but-
more joy.
But we're rich
most.
with
Absolutely.
with music and friends and life.
There you go. Rich in love and life.
You were
and-
saying?
Well, my grandparents and my parents, of course, they want the best. All of our, want the best. And it's like, you need something that's going to be concrete. You need a job. You need something to fall back on. And it's like, so I'm going to enter life ready to fall back. And that never made sense to me. So, yeah, I've had real jobs for 10 minutes. I just always did this. I say that. I was in the Air Force in the 70s. I spent my time in the military. And as soon as my time was over, I got out and went back to playing in a band.
I see. So that's where you got your discipline, but you came out with a purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, as soon as Johnny Bush, actually, I was a bandolero, and
I love Johnny Bush. man.
that was- I say I
grew
was a
up with him,
bandolero.
and
It's kind of
Gay
funny.
Shen, Gay Shen, his lovely daughter. Hi, Gay. She changed her name. I don't know where she is right now, but anyway, hi.
Yeah. Johnny, actually, the Bandolero band had, I don't know the ins and outs, but that had kind of folded. And you had mentioned Potter's Wheel Band. Well, they're no longer. But at the time, they were kind of a big deal, and I was playing drums with them. And so Johnny said, well, I want to pick up this Potter's Wheel Band as my band. So we actually made a string of commercials for Pearl Beer.
Wow.
And
That was back in the day. That was
Anyway,
stream water beer.
that's kind of how we got together. Was we were doing these commercials, and so he decided, well, I want to pick up this Potter's Wheel Band as my band, and so we started doing gigs with Johnny Bush and just became, his band for about 2 or 3
That's a
years.
great gig.
Oh, it was a
You
great
had to
gig.
start
I
off-
loved it.
Not bad at all. And you, Xavier?
Oh well,
You told me a little bit, but prior to the Infidels,
Prior to the
all
Infidels,
that.
I had a band with Renee Leal. How you doing?
Renee Leal.
And Dean Brazil, and it was called Yupon Holly. And this is before the Infidels, and we would have to play whatever we had to play to get in the door. I'd have to play Stevie Ray Vaughan or whatever. Yeah. And so we'd get in the door, and then I would throw Nirvana and Hank Williams at them, or Elvis Presley or Dwight Yoakam, or whatever I was into at the time. And
I like it already.
yeah, no, it was a really good band, and then I joined the Infidels, and then my career took off, and I never looked back, and I miss those days. Hello, Michael. Hello, Todd.
Mike.
I've got Tommy Cortez, my original drummer from the
Hello,
Infidels,
Michael Morales.
is playing drums. Hello, Mike Morales. We did some work with Mike
Hello,
Morales.
Marius Perone.
Yeah.
All the greats.
And,
I mean, these guys are musicians and engineers.
But,
You know,
I'm
that's what lead.
I'm a very lucky gentleman to be working with the people. I have the flow with Andy Garza. Juan Carlos is joining us on bass for that. I have Juan Carlos Sangria. I have Rain Dogs with Ray Zimzik. Gus Warner, an amazing guitar player, and of course Tommy Cortez. And then Ty Gavin and I have a project together.
Amen.
And we're
Yeah,
writing-
shout
we're
out
writing
to
an album
Ty.
together. Yeah,
Ty
hey Ty,
actually-
how you doing?
Ty was supposed to be on the show sometime, long time ago from, I can't
I'll bring
remember
him.
where we're at.
We'll do a show soon.
We'll definitely have to go do
Yeah.
a remote or something for him. You know, see him when he's playing. I'm a hired gun, man, so if anybody needs a drummer, I'm always available. Just give me a shout out. If I'm able to do the gig, I'll do it. But you must be a pro. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
No jam bands, please. Have a set list. I can play it. Very good. And Phil, you know, I know we were going to go into most memorable silly moments. Did you ever find something that you would consider a most memorable silly moment? Maybe a couple in your career.
That you can say over.
Maybe going-
That you can say on the mic.
Yeah. Everybody says the
We
same
can all
thing.
think of a
I
million.
can't say it.
That you can say on the mic.
Well,
Oh, by the way, I apologize to Roy Paris. I wasn't trying to, you know, make you look
He's
like a chump.
fine. Hello, Roy Pettis. How
On
you
last
doing?
show, man, I used the most memorable silly moment involving Roy, but I love him, man. It wasn't to put
We all
down.
love Roy Pettis.
Yeah.
so I was talking about Johnny Bush
And Henry.
earlier, and I guess so. One time while we were working with
You're
John,
talking Johnny Bush.
Johnny Bush.
Okay, great.
Yeah, he's the old country guy that wrote, you know, Whiskey River and
Whiskey
Elvis.
River, take
Elvis
my
made a hit out of
mind.
"You Gave Me a Mountain," and you know he wrote,
The great Johnny Bush.
yeah, the great
Oh,
Johnny
Jesus
Bush. But anyway,
Christ. That's incredible.
So we're in Colorado. We're somewhere coming out of Pueblo, and I don't really know why, but we were in two vehicles. Now Johnny at the time had gotten rid of the bus because it was too costly, and he had this thing we called the learner module. And it was like a dually pickup truck with this camper thing on the back. And so some of the guys would be in there, but the bass player, Johnny, brought his van, which was kind of a good times van kind of thing. So we had these two vehicles going down the road. So we pulled into a truck stop and we're going to fuel up and everybody's going to eat and everything. Everybody ate, everything. They took off. Well, somehow or another, I didn't make it into either vehicle. And so 30 miles down, 40 miles, 30 minutes down the road,
Whose
those
fault was that?
CB, well, mine. I was probably lingering.
I was just,
You know.
I wanted to find out everything.
So Johnny was, the CBs were really big back then.
Yeah,
CB
yeah,
radio.
the 70s,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
of course.
And so it was
Come
like,
back,
you know,
come back.
My handle was Pito Boy. So he got on the CB
Pito
and Breaker
Boy.
19, whatever, listening. I want to talk to Pito Boy. Says, well, he ain't back here. He's up there with y'all. Well, no, he's not. It's like, oh my God. So, of course, one of them, actually, Johnny in the lunar module, pulled over and said, y'all go back and get him. So Johnny, the bass player, Johnny Short, he turns around and said, go back. Well, by the time he gets back to get me, hell, I already had a job. I was pumping gas at that little truck stop. I
what you
didn't know how I was going to get home. I didn't
That's
know.
set
what you
up-
call a hard worker.
It's set up camp,
That's
man.
what you call a hard worker.
Yeah, I
You-
was
you have
standing
to
at the counter
acclimate
and
yourself.
They were
Conform.
gone. I didn't know what to do. I asked the manager. I said, "Hey, man, can you
need some help?"
sweep a little bit, or maybe pump some gas? I need bus ticket."
Oh my God,
Anyway.
that's so funny. That's so funny.
That's a pretty damn good story.
But did they actually come back and get you?
They did. They showed up about
Good.
30 minutes later, and I was so glad to see those boys.
You didn't have to go to work after all, huh?
Yeah, that's the story, man.
You know, Xavier, last time he was on, he used his mic that isn't hooked up to my mixer as good as this mic right here. So we want to
Yeah.
talk about a most memorable silly moment that you might have encountered.
Well, I've got one that I remembered after the show, and
Okay.
it has a lot to do with the story. You know, we were talking about Andy Garza was here, and we're talking about racing each other and in our high school cars. Well, I had a flashback. This was
Those real shitty little cars. that you
Well,
always
no,
talk-
he had I had a great car. I had a big giant '78
Well,
white
who
on
had the
white.
shitty car?
Andy had the TLC. I had a
Andy,
white on
it's
white
so
78.
funny. He came on. He literally
Cougar.
called it that, and somebody on Facebook acknowledged that yes, it
Yeah.
was.
No, I had a '78 Cougar with a 350, and I wish I still had that car.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mom, for
66 bucks on this side.
But this is pre-cell phone, mind you. Andy and I had gotten our mom's like old phones and kept them in our cars. So when we would stop by, we'd be at the stoplight. There'd be some hot girl next to you. It even had like the wire thing hang out. Hey, what's going on? You act like you were talking, And then they would be looking for and it was just a rotary phone in my car that I would pick up and act like I was talking to people, to pick up girls. So,
and you told me that story
well,
briefly.
I told you afterwards. I was telling you that story.
The funny thing is that I did the same thing with one of my dear friends. It used to be my head roadie. He now passed away, John Lopez. But we had a broken phone. And, we just were laughing all the way down 281, handing the phone over and acting like we were talking. I don't know why we do silly things like that.
And obviously, it was one of those curly cord telephones that, you can't plug into a car, but, we thought we looked cool. I was like 15, so there you go. That's my story.
Man, I think my most memorable silly moment that brings me back to Crystal Winter is a time that a music store off Almas Drive, they're now defunct, but that music store had a new PA system, and we were using custom 200 watts, 4 of them, to make the sound. But they had a PA system, and they said, hey, guys, try this one out, and so, we'll try it, but we have to play it, we can't just at a gig. No, you can take it, and we want you to market it for us. Wow, cool, out of sight. We played a really hellacious gig at Lackland Air Force Base. Shout out to all the servicemen. And so we did the Lackland Air Force gig and blew out the sound system.
Oh, man.
The whole thing blew out, and it started like on fire. The head itself, that was about as big as a custom PA head, started smoking. And then next thing you hear is out.
That's what you call rock and roll.
So we plugged in the mic to whatever we could, to whatever amplifier we could piggyback off of.
So who paid for the PA after all that? Is what I want. Whose mom got stuck with it?
He ate it because it was his idea to market it through
gotcha,
us.
Yeah.
He said, "You're the band I want to market this, and we'll do it if you provide it before we purchase it." It blew. Yeah. So obviously we went back to custom.
Yeah, you couldn't beat those old custom PAs.
No way, man.
So what band are you currently in right now?
I play with a
Great
band
question.
called, actually I'm in 2 different bands, but one of them is called Texas Unlimited Band, and everybody knows this as Tub, and it's just a corporate party band, mostly conventions and fairs and festivals and stuff like that. We do some honky tonks, but mostly we do that other stuff.
That's where the money is.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll see you at it appears to be like, I don't know, what do you call it? Well, you're outdoors, you're playing that old drum set that looks kind of tan, and then outside rim is lighter colored wood. Do you know what I'm talking about? Is that a Ludwig that you have? The body itself is dark tan.
Not with that band. With that band, I'm playing a DW set.
Okay.
And then, now I built.
I think what it was is that it was just a jam that you were with.
It was.
It
I
was
built a drum
country
set
western.
that has a 26-inch bass drum that has. It's an old 60s Slingerland bass drum.
Oh, I love that.
And then I
That's
I
that
built
big
a couple
band
of
stuff
toms,
Gene
and
Krupa did,
those have
Gene
the-
Krupa, and
that's
those
the drummer,
were my
that's the drummer I was
influences.
gonna
Ed Shaughnessy.
When you asked about the most
Johnny
influential drummer, I was going to mention Gene.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
Like Gene and
Well,
Ringo.
Gene-
Well, that was before
Gene
Ringo.
was-
Yeah,
That was before
absolutely.
Ringo, but a
Gene
lot of
Krupa.
people
Gene
were
Coleman.
so influenced by
Gene
him.
Coleman. Gene Krupa, everybody knew he could get up and do a drum solo around the drum set, which is
I
really
forgot
phenomenal.
somebody, Keith
Yes.
Moon.
Oh, Keith Moon,
Oh,
cut it
yeah,
out.
absolutely.
Keith Moon.
Shout out to Shelley Gregory and her husband Paul Calloway. They're big.
Big Who fans.
Well, the Who, but surprisingly, The Rolling Stones.
That's my band. that's
Yeah, and that's a lot of the stuff of which he, I guess, well, you model yourself after that.
Well, Keith, I had three idols in high school: Keith Richards, country singer Graham Parsons, and of course Jim Morrison. So you couldn't go wrong with any one of those.
Yeah.
True
those
that.
three. And then always Elvis and Hank Williams.
Man, for me, I kept it real simple, man. It was the Beatles and Elvis.
Well,
I don't know where you guys.
there's only one person I know these days.
You're talking all these other.
There's only one person I know these days that can say this.
Doobie Brothers.
Who saw Elvis and Hank Williams, and that's the country singer Bobby Baker, who's big friends with.
And we owe a lot to Bobby Baker and,
Yeah, I've
and
known
all
Bobby for
those
years.
guys. Augie Myers.
Was in
when
his
I was a
band
kid.
for a short time.
Yeah.
I mean, they're institutions here, man.
Yeah.
And so that's what this show is all about, is to commemorate our lives and hopefully our stories and kind of just hold on to just a little part of this world forever.
So my second band is called What Robots Do, and it's like a 90s rock, a lot of emo, younger
Techno.
guys than me.
Techno stuff?
Not so much techno, emo. I mean, it's basically, drums, bass, and guitar, that kind of stuff. There's not a lot of keyboard techno stuff, but it's just rock, high energy rock, keeps me young. The other band, we do everything from, in Texas Unlimited Band, everybody calls it Tub, but we do everything from, George Strait to Merle Haggard, and then the second set we might do, Bon Jovi and Def Leppard, and then end the night with Lil Wayne and Flo Rida, and so it's
that's
Yeah,
it's a
variety,
big variety
That's
band.
impressive.
It's a
man.
party
That's
band,
really-
and so that's why
Sure.
we
It's a dance band, so you
Yeah,
need
dance
stuff
band,
that
yeah.
people are familiar with. There's concert bands and there's dance bands.
Yeah.
And then there's jazz bands that are all, in a case, all of themselves. I mean, I love jazz because all you can do to that is shut up and listen. If you're a musician, all you can do is just go, wow, what did they just do?
You can wish that you could play it.
Yeah.
I had a small time in my life where I, tried to be a jazzer and found out real quickly that, first of all, you can rehearse for 10 months and getting all this material together and just work your butt off getting it sounding good, and then get a job where everybody makes $50 a piece at Papa Do's on a Tuesday evening, Or you can play Amarillo by morning and get a $400
$200
gig.
to $400 each, yeah.
You make $400.
Sure.
And so, yeah, it's
There's
kind
a
of a
big difference
no-brainer.
in what you play is what Phil's talking about. What you play is what you're going to end up making, and it's all of our independent choices, but, Partner Man's all over the place. He's playing all kinds of places. Sancho's, and where else? Tell me, Xavier.
I'll be at the Flow will be at Epic this Friday, 9 to 11, 1375 Austin Highway.
Oh, I like that place.
And it's a great place. And then the Flow will also be at a new bar called Backyard on Broadway.
Backyard, baby.
Yeah, we'll be at the
Broadway.
Backyard. We got a lot of stuff coming. Rain Dogs is coming back, and Ty Gavin things coming, and the Electric Flow with Juan Carlos on bass will be at the Backyard on October 21st. So that's coming. And,
It's a nice schedule.
The Backyard up by Austin, Manchac and Buda over there, that Backyard?
No, the Backyard on Broadway,
Ándale,
right
one
right
here.
next to the clubhouse.
You're bilingual. Did you say andale?
That just slipped out. Not
Órale.
really. I've gotten
I
myself
thought
in
you had
trouble
part Mexican
several
in
times.
there. I'm not ever going to miss
Yeah,
that.
I was saying a little something in Mexican.
Andale,
and boy,
órale, ponle.
turns out,
That's
no,
funny.
I don't really
Hey,
talk Spanish.
I don't think you can live in San Antonio and not pick up phrases. Yeah,
Okay, so shout-outs. Time for shout-outs real quick. If you had anybody to say a shout-out to, who would it be, Phil?
Well, of course, the first person I think of is my beloved Dawn, the beautiful woman that I call my wife and
Yay.
partner, and her.
Way to go, Don.
I'm so old now, though, I can't really shout out to mom and dad and any of them because
hell.
they're all dead. So let's see, who else would I shout out to? I guess maybe my brother Mark, and I would shout out to my grandson Vance. He's my scuba diving partner. We're scuba divers. Of course, my lady Dawn is too. So we like to go scuba diving, man. I like to go to the bottom of the ocean.
Wow, you're crazy.
Very cool.
I think you're crazy. I don't know about cool.
Oh, it's great, man.
I'll stay out of the ocean
great.
any time, any day
You
of the
gotta pay
week.
over $100 to do it. It's probably cool.
Yeah, exactly right.
Xavier, who would your shout outs
My
be?
shout out, I missed a lot of people last time. Of course, my mom, my brothers
Yay.
and sisters, my wife, all my bandmates, Andy Garza, Juan Carlos, Gus Warner, Ray Zimzik, Tommy Cortez,
A lot of good guys.
Ty Gavin, and every bandmate I played with in the past. Thank you. I appreciate it. And my shout outs to you, Mr. Edo Ocampo,
Oh hell, man!
for having
going
us
on
here.
There you go.
And
Somebody's got to do it.
somebody's, we appreciate it. And shout out to all you people out there watching. Thank you.
Yes, my shout out would be to all our viewing audience. You know, everybody that cares about this thing, really do appreciate you. I'll be putting out a little more as to how you can help us help musicians. So we'll talk about that a little later on. You're going to take us out on whatever you want, if you want like.
Right quick,
you
I
know?
want to give
Yeah,
a shout out.
no,
I
by all
forgot.
means. I was going to say Burning Desires are next.
Well, to
Any
Nika,
last shout outs?
You know, we were talking about Nika earlier.
Yes.
And of course, Michael
Scarborough.
Ann Coker, her friend
Yes.
that goes out to so many of these events, and she's always there. She's always, putting something on Facebook and
Yes.
whatever about, all these. So
Texas pop.
She's huge in my book in the San Antonio, trying to
I would agree.
keep San Antonio musicians, South Texas, all going. I just shout out to her.
Dig it.
Thank you, Nika.
That's solid. Yeah, thank you, Nika.
All
Thank
right,
you.
man.
Margaret,
Thank you. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank y'all.
Yeah. Thank y'all.
I'm going to hit you with an original. It's a rock and roller.
Cool.
You know, before that happens, let me present you guys with the official San Antonio Musicians Talk Show Network door prize.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It's much
It's,
appreciated. This is going on my fireplace.
It's a matter of you scratch my back, I scratch yours.
That's cool. So I think I'm going to keep that in my car, right
Yeah.
in that little pocket right behind the passenger seat where I can just grab it right back there and get to work.
Get to work. All right, everybody, it's called Let It Go.
You know, here's Xavier. Just going to throw down a little quick something. And for San Antonio Musicians Talk Show Network, I'm Edo Ocampo Sr., host and originator of the first and all musicians comedy talk show in the nation. And so we're grateful to all you guys that pay attention and want to be on this show. By all means, come on and see us. Mr. Xavier, Axeman. Okay, guys, go on out and go do something good for somebody today, because we're out to change the world one day at a time, okay? Don't forget that. Do something good for somebody. Philip, go ahead and fade us out, baby. Thank you, Phil Antoine. San Antonio Musicians Talk Show Network.